So, I mean, yeah, it's, because Kim Booker was supposed to go with me. She's opposed to his, elderly and.
Okay, we have the usual
So,
cast
yeah, that's all I know.
today.
She's not here at all this week.
Bob will be reprising his role as the judge. Mark will be Mr. Moore, Eric will be Mr. First, and I will be... I can't remember who I am.
Sounds serious.
I'm the witness. I'm A.
You're A.
A for answer.
What?
That's loaded.
Maybe we could get a different judge.
Are we doing 200 first? Or, yeah, 200 first?
We're gonna do the 200 first, yes. Everybody up and running?
Hold on just a second. I'm gonna try this.
So where is Shannon?
She was here.
Yeah, she was in here, and this may be her creeping back in. Yes, it is. We do seem to be a little thin.
Yeah.
I told you.
Ethel.
O'Deary, Ethel,
I saw maybe they're in medical.
okay, everybody ready? We have two fairly long ones. Okay.
All right, cross-examination.
That first call that we just listened to before Nana called, who was that from Sandy Springs?
That was a person that handles tickets. I received a noise violation, so I went to court for it. Just between working and going to school, I didn't have time to respond to that, so she left a voicemail.
So I'm not understanding who this person was. I mean, who did they work for? The person leaving this message.
She said JCI, so I guess she's in control of handling tickets that had been ignored or hadn't been paid for, or working out a payment plan, because that's what I signed up for, was a payment plan when I went to answer for my ticket.
So you had to go to court, and you had already been to court on this?
Yes.
And they were saying that you had failed to appear for something?
She was telling me that I needed to come into the office to make another payment, because I made one payment previous to that voicemail. So it was just time again to make another payment on my ticket.
Was it like a probation officer calling you?
Yes, but it wasn't actual probation. It was just what they worked out, like a payment plan. If you can't pay it all at one time, they set up in increments over a period of time for you to pay it off if you don't have the lump sum right then and there to pay. Because my ticket was $355. They gave me a time frame in which I could break it down into payments over a period of time and pay it off.
So it was a probation officer telling you to come in, but you weren't on probation?
Correct. I wasn't on probation that you're thinking of.
Pardon me?
I wasn't on criminal probation, no.
You weren't on probation at that time?
No.
Okay. So let me see if I understand the things you were saying on direct examination. On May 16th, I mean when all this happened, where did you work?
True Religion brand jeans. If you're not familiar with that, it's a high-end fashion.
I know what it is. Where else did you work?
UPS. I was a seasonal worker there, and Walmart Neighborhood Market.
Were you working with UPS in the month of May during this time that you were talking about?
No, just while I was here in Georgia. While I was living in Georgia, period, those are the 3 jobs I had. During that time, I was working at True Religion. That was the only job I had in the month of May.
So you go over to the Shell station with Chris that day, and it's just a coincidence that you meet up with Cortez?
Yes, I did not meet up with him.
Well, you met him, and then he got in the car with you, right?
I didn't meet him. Meeting him is meet me here. I did not do that.
I mean, you had already met him before. You had met Cortez prior to the Shell station, May 16th?
Can you elaborate on that?
I'm asking you, you already told us that you had met the man before, and I'm asking if you agree with that. That's what you just told us. And you've met Cortez before.
Yes, like the first time meeting you, yes.
Yeah. So y'all had exchanged numbers, didn't you?
No,
Why were you so scared then when Detective Bratley interviewed you and said, are we going to find your cell phone info in the bad guy's phone list if y'all hadn't exchanged numbers? That's when you decided to change your tune, remember?
he's called me on my phone, but we didn't exchange numbers.
Okay. So you had his number?
Right.
His nickname was not Black, was it?
Yes, it was.
His nickname is Chi-Town because he's from Illinois, right? That's his nickname?
Okay, that's what everybody from Chicago would be called, Chi-Town.
Okay, so you weren't calling him Black on this particular night, were you?
Yes, I was.
So you just out of the blue see Cortez and he gets in the car. And the reason for this is so you can give him a ride home?
Correct.
But you're telling us he ain't got a home.
Wherever he was laying his head that night would be his home.
Pardon?
I said wherever he was laying his head that night would be his home.
So it stands to reason that he was living in a hotel back then, right?
Not to my knowledge.
Well, a person that has no solid residence, if they are not camped out under a bridge, they are probably going to go to a hotel, right?
I don't know. You have to have money for a hotel.
So you're going to give him a ride, but you don't know where you're giving him a ride to?
Like I said, he was calling people to find out where he could go that night.
Do you agree with Detective Bratley when he said it's 14 or 15 miles from the Delk Road apartments where y'all were, basically? Over here where this armed robbery happened? 15 miles, 14 miles?
It would be 10 or 15 minutes. I don't know in mileage, no.
Okay. I mean, do you understand that if you're on the interstate doing 60 miles per hour, that's a minute for every mile, right?
Right.
So if you were on the interstate and you're doing 60 miles an hour, to get 15 miles, that's going to take you 15 minutes. That's at 60 miles an hour, right?
Right.
No red lights.
Uh-huh.
So you have to admit that it took more than 10 or 15 minutes to get over there, right?
No.
Okay. You drove the Ford Fusion over there to this place, right?
Correct.
You parked on Old Villa Way, didn't you?
Where is...
This is the street you parked on, Old Villa Way.
Can I come down and see it?
The street right here where they found the car, you parked on that street?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and you took the key to the car, right?
Correct.
Did you take the gate key too?
No, the gate key isn't a key. It's more like a garage opener type of device, so it's really not a key.
And you said you put that key, the Ford Fusion key, on your hook, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so here's some keys that ended up getting returned to you, right? With the little orange Nike Air Jordan,
Yes.
and they are sitting up on the trunk. Here they are on State's Exhibit 20 down at the police station before they gave you your money and your watch and your ID back, right?
Before?
I mean, that's before you got all your stuff back. It's sitting there.
Uh-huh.
So this is the keys that you got, right?
Right.
And there is no Ford Fusion key on there?
Okay, you failed to mention that this is at the station, that I drove the car to the station. So if I drove, therefore, I needed the keys to the car.
Right. So I'm trying to ask you, how did you get the keys back when they didn't give you the stolen keys until later?
How were the keys stolen?
How was it that you had the keys? Where did you get the keys from? The key to the Ford Fusion if you drove back to the police station.
How did I drive the Ford Fusion back without the keys?
I know that you had the keys. We're clear on that. You had to have the keys to start the car. Where did you get the Ford?
Detective Bradley.
He gave it to you?
Yes.
And did he take it off this thing?
Yes.
He took it off of that?
Yes, he did.
That's your story today?
Those are facts.
So your story is that you park a couple of blocks away from where you're really going, right? I mean, you had the man's address in your GPS, right?
Right.
You had Devon's address in your phone because he had texted it to you, right?
Right.
And then you park right next to an intersection that says Old Villa Way and Old Villa Rica Road, right?
Correct.
And it's pretty obvious when you park there that you are not at Reese Farms Trail, correct?
Right.
Okay. So even if the GPS says you're here, you could have kept driving to try to find Reese Farms Trail,
Right.
but you decided to park in what's clearly the wrong place. And you can't even see Reese Farms Trail, but you decide to park the car there.
Yes, I did.
And that was to hide the car from Devon, who you were fixing to rob, right?
No, it wasn't. It was to hide the person that I was with, because the person I was with was not invited over to his house. I was.
And the whole reason that you and Cortez went over there is to try to get, you're saying, some lean and some weed, right? Lean being the codeine liquid and weed being some marijuana.
That's what I was going to purchase.
Right. So when you went over there within your mind that there was something that Devon Adams had that you wanted,
I could pay for it.
or you could rob him, right? But my question is this. There's something over there that you wanted to get that took you, even though you had been on a plane, this day, you hadn't even been home to unpack. You went straight over to Devon's. That's how important it was that you wanted to go get this stuff, correct?
Correct.
And you're telling us today that the reason you didn't buy the lean at $200 for 4 ounces was, even though it's a fair price, you were worried that it might have been tampered with.
No, it not might have been. It was tampered with.
Okay. So when you buy illegal drugs, I mean, you don't have a prescription for this codeine stuff, correct?
Correct.
And you were buying marijuana, or you were wanting to buy marijuana, correct?
I did buy marijuana.
So you're telling us that you're worried about purity and content when you're buying illegal drugs from somebody. Is that what you're telling us, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, we heard from the police that it took them no more than 5 or 10 minutes to get there on this particular day. how do you come up with it took 25 minutes from the time 911 got called until they got there? How do you come up with that?
Because I was there and we were waiting. It took 2 calls from his mom to call the police before they even arrived.
Were you there when she made that second call?
Yes, I was. I never left the residence.
She was already accusing you at that point, wasn't she?
Yes, she was.
She was suspicious of you from the get-go, correct?
She was.
You told her that you had been at some apartments, hadn't you?
I did.
There ain't no apartments on Hemingway.
They don't know what I was there for.
We're talking about your lies. You started lying from...
Yes, I did. I lied.
You lied to Devon's mom that you said you had been in some apartments, right?
Yes.
You lied to Devon about where you had been,
Yes.
saying you had been in some apartments, right?
Right.
You said that you had got dropped off. That wasn't true, right?
I lied.
Okay. Let me ask you this. When you lied to Devon before all this happened, you come walking up and you lied to him about how he got dropped off or that you had been dropped off, right?
Right.
That's before any robbery happens, right?
Right.
Why did you need to lie at that point?
Well,
Hold on. There is no armed robbery that's even happened yet. Why are you lying before the armed robbery happened? What do you have to lie about unless you know what's fixing to happen?
because I was invited over and the person wasn't. The person I was with wasn't invited over. If I invite you over to my house, I don't want you to bring nobody else with you.
And your story to these jurors is that you told Cortez, just stay in the car, stay put. That's your story today anyway, right?
That was the truth.
So what you got to lie about?
Nothing.
Right. Unless you knew flat out what was fixing to happen on that stoop, that Devon was going to get his stuff ripped from him. Unless you knew, you got no reason to lie, correct?
Correct, and if I knew that, I wouldn't have stayed.
Explain to these folks why you're lying before the armed robbery happens. Sit here and you think about it. Come up with one now if you can.
It shouldn't matter what I told him when I got there.
So just disregard that? Disregard that lie? That's your answer?
I'm not saying disregard that.
Devon and Cortez had never met one another, had they?
They had seen each other before, yes.
Seen each other? What, just in passing?
No, at Cumberland Mall.
You told the police that they had met before. They knew each other. And that was a lie too, wasn't it?
No, it was not.
So this gun that was used, you knew it was a real gun?
I didn't even know there was a gun around me at the time.
Did you know what type of gun it was?
No, I did not.
Have you ever seen... You've seen a handgun before though, right?
Yes, I have.
I asked your cousin, Mr. Marks, Armani Costin. Is that a cousin of yours?
No,
Shermone Jones. Is that a cousin?
no.
Have you ever told anybody that's your cousin?
Your Honor, I object. This is touching on a prior ruling that the court has made that's not relevant.
Do you want to come up here, or what do you want to do?
We can, Your Honor.
He told the police in Florida when he got arrested for a different case that these two guys were cousins. Now he's saying,
He shouldn't be talking about the police in Florida. Your Honor ruled on that. It's irrelevant. Except Mr. First is trying to get him to open the door that you ruled has nothing to do with this case. We shouldn't be talking about anything said to police officers in Florida.
if the defendant would be honest on the stand and not lie to people, we wouldn't have to. But it enables us to...
Judge,
Sustain the objection. Next question.
So you've heard the call that Cortez made 3 days after he got arrested. So May 19th, you got on the phone with him that day, did you not?
I did not.
So you're saying that's not you?
That's what I'm telling you.
That's some other Josh, apparently, correct?
I don't know who that is.
Your Honor, I have no further questions.
All right, let's take a 5-minute break before we get into cross.